Good morning, family. It's your boy Seven Figure Trader coming to you guys live, and I have a special call for you guys today. Today, we're actually going to be starting off the series of how we break down my strategy, which is called Illustrator Strategy. So today, we're going to be going over part one, which is going to be the basics, right? So the basics we're going to go over today: how to calculate pips. And I know, right? If you're on Cloud Trader, we have the lovely pip
I
calculator.
got
So a
all
lot
types
of
of stuff
people,
and you
a lot
already
of
know.
people aren't don't know how to count pips. So we'll go over that today. We'll also go over just basic stuff as far as candlestick, what is a wick. We'll also look at identifying trends, and then how to identify a breakout, or rejection, and a retest, right? So we are not doing any live tradings. My brother Ty Pips is over there live trading on Jerd 30. So if that is what you came here looking for, right, I want to go ahead and tell you guys to go hop on his call. Today is just going to be strictly education. We're just going to be strictly going over those topics that I told you guys about. Pips, what are they? How to count them, candlesticks and wicks, identifying trends, breakouts, rejections, and retest, right? Because those are going to be the basic components of my strategy for taking my signals, and just for you guys to be able to really understand the different concepts of how different people trade, right? So that's what we're going to be going over today, right? This also will be recorded, uploaded to my YouTube channel. I'll drop my YouTube link. All of the calls, education calls that we do or that I do, will be uploaded there so you guys can reference them at a later time. 1 second here, family. There we go. So yeah, so those will be on my YouTube to go ahead and reference at a later time. So real quick, right? Shout out to my brother Ty. Shout out to all the other educators who've been doing a thug dizzle. Make sure that you guys, right, go to the chat, show some love and appreciation to some of the educators today. It doesn't have to be me, it could be any educator on the platform, but just make sure you go and show some love. As I can tell you all the time, the quickest way for you to get to your blessings is to appreciate the blessings that others have around you, or the blessing that someone else is being. So when you show that type of gratitude, that's what's going to attract your next blessing. So right, so make sure to always be grateful. Go show some love. My educators, they work extremely hard. They give up time away from their families. They give up their time throughout their day. Some of them have taken pay cuts to come here to Bass to do this type of stuff for you guys. So I just want to make sure that I recognize their sacrifices and I show gratitude to them. But real quick, someone drop a pair, right? Someone drop a pair in the chat for me to see what's the color, what we gonna be marking up. Someone drop what you guys want to look at so we can DAX the dollar index. Or are you talking about DAX as in JER 30? Because I know I think on Novus, JER 30 is called the DAX. I'm not going to mark up JER 30. Yeah, I'm not going to mark up JER 30. Ty over there, he marking up JER 30 right now. He's in the trade. So I'm not going to do anything that's going to be counter to his analysis or anything like that. But someone dropped me anything but JER 30. GBP, JPY. Cool. Right. I never mark up GBP, JPY. Go ahead. So first thing, right, we want to talk about pips, right? So what is a pip? A pip is just a standard unit of measurement that is used here in Forex, right? So just like an inch or a centimeter, a kilogram, a meter, right? It's just a unit of measurement. Am I choppy? Let me know, feel me? I was like, someone in the chat said my audio's a little choppy. If I'm coming in choppy for you guys, drop a 3. If you guys can hear me loud and clear, drop a 4 in the chats for me. Drop a 4 if I'm clear. Drop a 3 if I'm choppy. For sure, for sure. All right, cool. So yeah, so right, so pips, just a standard unit of measurement, right? Just like inches, meters, or anything. But that's just how you measure in the Forex Mac. Right? So that's all pips are. It's just literally how you count the difference in between currencies. So right, if I want to measure what the US dollar, excuse me, we're on JGB. So right, this is the Great British Pound versus the Japanese yen. So if I want to measure the difference in between the two currencies, that would be pips. right? So now, right, so you have different types of ways that you can count pips, right? And I may need to go to a whiteboard or something like that to show you guys. But right, we'll try to do it here. But basically, you have numbers that are 5 digits behind. Let me go ahead, just do that. Two, three, four, five, six. Right. Then you have ones that are 2 digits. Then you have ones that are 3 digits. No, my bad, not 3 digits. You got one, two, you got five, two, and what else? Because look, I'm that's why I stick to what I trade, right? I trade NASDAQ and I trade BTC. Those are all counted the same way. So yeah, so BTC is going to be two numbers behind. And then what is JPY? JPY is three numbers. Yeah, three numbers behind, right? So these are going to be your different ones. So for this one, we want to look at the third and fourth number behind the decimal to count. But y'all gonna have to do, if we have some typos, we just gonna run with them, right? For if it has 2 digits behind, change this to an and. There we go. If it has 2 digits, then we count the whole number. So that's similar to BTC where each dollar is a pip. And I get you guys a better version of this next time we do the basics. And then if there's 3 digits behind it, then we're going to count the first two numbers behind the decimal. Excuse me, we're going to count the whole number, but it counts as 10. So this would be similar to like for Euro, for GBP, JPY, it's any of those pairs, right? Let me go ahead and just pull up my notes. But right, so get everyone here muted. There we go. But yeah, so if there's 2 digits behind it, go back here. You want to count the whole number and then it's times 10. So on ETH, right? That's why you'll count each whole number, but each one number is 10 pips versus on BTC, each whole number is going to be 1 pip. 1 second here, family. Okay. So yeah, and then right for three numbers behind, you want to count the first two numbers behind the decimal. Now, right, if you guys switch over to MT4, right, on the platform, and you may switch over there for different types of reasons. I always want to make sure you guys know how to count pips. But like I said, luckily for us, Cloud Trader automatically has the pip calculator, as well as you guys can always come here on TradingView, and you can always use the tool too, just in case if you're not sure about it, you can always come here. Where's the little ruler? Take the ruler, and then you can measure the moves here, right? So it'll tell you, you just gotta know the conversion. So 387, right? That's going to be 387 pips for this one. Some of them you still may have to do a manual conversion, but right, not super important for what we're going to be going over. Like I said, what we really want to focus in today is candlesticks and wicks. So right, so this is a candlestick. The lines that you guys see sticking out of here are called wicks. So this is just going to show us where price went and where price closed. So the candlestick, where the body of the candlestick is showing us where price opened and where price closed, right? The wicks are showing us where price went, but we did not close at that price. So for instance, on this candle right here that we're looking at, the wick came up and then it rejected, right? This is a key vocabulary word for today, rejection. It rejected this price and then the candle closed below at the body. So, right, if everyone just understands wicks and candlesticks, right, go ahead and drop a 5 in the chat for me if I can move on. Drop a five in the chat if we good, right? With candlesticks and wicks. Like I said, today is real basic, right? Next week we're going to get into more intermediate stuff, but just in case, right? I want to make sure that everyone understands how my strategy works, and this is also going to help you guys understand how to take my signals. Cool, cool, cool. We got fives in the chat, right? So the first thing I like to do for my strategy is identify the trends. So for me personally, I like to switch from candlesticks to a line chart, right? Just makes it a little bit easier to see where price closed at, and that's really where I want to base my trend line off of. And all the trend line is just going to let us know if it's in an uptrend or if it's in a downtrend. And how we do that is by identifying your highs and your lows. So for a trend, you want to have at least three highs or three lows that you're marking up, just so then that you have, the more points that it touches is going to be the stronger the trend it is. So I say, okay, here's my bottoms right here, and I can come here and I can add my trend line, and then I want to see if I'm able to find a third touch, right? So for this one, it comes right here and it kind of touches over here, right? And trend lines don't have to be perfect because right here we're on the 4 hour. If we go to the daily, they're going to be looking a little bit different. So that's why you guys will see me. I'll color code my trend lines. So stuff that's on like the 4 hour or the daily, I mark purple. If it's on the 1 hour or less, I mark it blue. And then if it's on the above the daily, then I will be marking it orange, right? So right, this is a potential trend right here. And like I said, you can also have sub trends because I can go from here. I can say, hey, right, I see this right here or some other points that line up. So I could potentially come here, right? And I could have this right here where it's touching one, two. We're not quite touching on these points right here, right? The trend line is not quite touching there. So those ones don't count as points, but I do have multiple touches over here. So this would could be what's considered a sub trend line. And if we come here to like the lower time frame on the 1 hour, right, it looks a lot better. So this would have been our sub trend line. So you can have more than one trend lines, and sometimes they can be counterintuitive, which is why I like to go to the higher time frames first, and I like to mark my trend lines from there, right? So we got 3 points of contacts, right, for this uptrend. So what does an uptrend really mean? It just means that we're having higher highs and higher lows, right? So let me delete these right here. Just delete everything. Right, so here's my low. My next low will be right here. Oops, wrong button. Right. My next low is right here. So right, so if I'm marking it up like that, I'm seeing that we have, where's the pencil? Like they got me using tools I don't never use. Anyway, right. So we have this low, this low, this low. So we can see here that this low is higher than this low, and this low is higher than this one. So right, so that's going to signify a uptrend because I have lower lows, right? Excuse me,
Ooh,
lower
wait
high,
a minute.
higher lows. Give me
Wait
one
a
second.
minute.
So yeah, so we have the higher lows, right? And then we also want to see, do we have higher highs? So right here's my high right here based off of that low. This general area is my high, right? This would be my high from this low. And then this would be my high, right? So if we can all agree that we're seeing higher lows and higher highs, right? Drop a three in the chat for me, if that just makes sense. Cool. So, right. So, with higher highs and higher lows, right? Can someone drop in the chat what kind of trend is this? Is this the uptrend or is this the downtrend? Do want to make sure we all on the same page. For sure. So this is an uptrend. Now, in the same time, let's go see if we can find a downtrend. You have to go back a little bit. Here we go. You're actually gonna take this back. Oh, cool. So now, same time for a downtrend, we want to identify higher lows and higher high, excuse me, lower highs. So right. So if I'm starting off right here, here's my high, and I'm really just looking to see where does the market really kind of come up. So you could kind of count this one right here as a high. I personally probably would have skipped over that one. I would mark this right here as my high, and then this one right here is my high. And so for this, right, this one's going to be a little bit harder to identify the lows because it has such a steep, just downwards trend. That's why I said I wouldn't really count this one because what I like to find is I want to see drop, base, drop, right? DBD. I talked about that on my session yesterday in case you guys didn't weren't there, right? DBD, drop, base, drop. So that's what I like to find for my downtrends. I want to see, okay, when price comes down, then it kind of settles and then it drops again, right? That's called a DBD, drop base drop. So, right, so if those are my highs, let me go ahead. I'm gonna switch up my colors here. Right, this would be my low. That would be my low. That would be my low. And then this would be my low, right? And then also I can come throw the trend line on here. And I'm just looking for 3 points of contact or more. So I can see right here that I'm going to get the most touches. So that's the trend line. Even though it comes and breaks here above the trend line, that's fine, right? Price breaks above the trend line, and that's what we call a retrace. And then that's what, later on, getting a little ahead of myself, but later on, these are the moves that we will be looking to take trades on because it broke the trend, it retraced, which gives us an opportunity for a continuation, right? So we got our lower highs and our lower lows, right? If everyone can see that clearly on the chart, right? Go ahead and drop a 5 in the chat. If that makes sense, drop a 5. If it doesn't make sense, this is the call to ask questions on. All right, I got two fives in the chat. I guess for me, everybody else, ladies, if you confused, it's okay. It's okay. I promise you. It's okay to ask questions on this call. We're not live trading. We're not in a big rush. Just want to make sure that we're understanding these basic concepts because these are going to be the first steps on how to put my strategy together. So I want to make sure you guys are understanding the core concepts. So the first steps, right? The first steps in my strategy is always to identify the trend, right? I want to understand the trend because then that lets me know, am I trading with the trend? Am I trading against the trend? Am I looking to am I looking to right? Am I looking for breakouts? Am I looking for retests? All that good stuff. Now you're like yourself and you kind of get ahead of yourself. So we know how to identify uptrend. We know how to identify downtrend. I'm not 100% sure what's a breakout and what a rejection and a retest is. So let me go ahead and type that up, right? So we got breakout, rejection, retest, right? So we're not gonna get too deep into it. We're just gonna mark up right here. We're gonna find the area and we're gonna find, yep, let's go right there. All right. So we're just gonna make this white. So let me switch back to the candlesticks. And we're actually gonna come back, take it back a little bit further. Oops. There we go. I don't know what happened to my line. They got rid of my line. Oh well. But let's go ahead. Let's come back. And we're gonna rewind time a little bit here. And let's come back to around here. little bit further. Where I really just want to find is an area of consolidation. And so what we can do is we'll mark up a box. And the box is just saying, hey, this is where price was. So, right, this is a nice one over here. I like this one. Why won't it let me change? There we go. All right. So here's my box. My box is just going to represent consolidation. Consolidation is just when the market's moving sideways. We're not really getting too much volume one way or another. Right. So here's our box. Let's go ahead and we're going to take this back. So cool. So, right. Real simple here. For a breakout, we're looking for, it just means that we're looking for a break of the box, right? That can be up or that can be down. So that's where a breakout is. Just like the name sounds, we're just breaking the structure, breaking the box, breaking the line, whatever it is, right? And the time frame that we do it on is super important. So for my strategy, we look out for breakouts on the 3 minute and the 5 minute because I trade crypto and indices. Each different pair or each different category, asset class is a better word here. So right, this asset class here is Forex. This is a Forex asset class. So right, so depending on individual strategy and different things like that, right, you're going to see breakouts on different time frames. But for purposes of teaching you guys Illustrator, right, let's look at the 5 minute. Right? So we're looking for, let's look at over here first. So let's identify what a rejection is, right? So rejection just means price came to an area and failed. I promise you I know how to spell, right? Price came to an area and failed to break, right? So looking at this right here, this is a rejection, right? Price came right up here to the top of our box and then it failed to break this area and came back down. Let's see if we just see another rejection, maybe on the other end of this. Looking at the 5 minute, it's gonna take forever. Cool. All right, here's another area of rejection. Price came down here, and this is actually a better example of a rejection. Price came down here, and we see that price tried to break, right? We see that wick, right? Super important wicks. Wicks mean that price came down but did not close. So for my strategy, we would need the close to confirm either a stop loss or an entry, right? So if this was an entry for a sale, this would not be a confirmation. If this was our stop loss, right, we would still be in the trade because it did not close. My strategy is based off of technical analysis plus price action, mixed with a little bit of sugar and spice, right? Right, a little bit of seasoning on that. But so this is what another area of example of a rejection where price came down and it failed to break and it closed in the opposite direction, right? So right, if we understand rejections, right, drop a 3 in the chat. If you don't understand rejections, drop a 2. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Come back over. Here we go. So right, so now let's go ahead and let's fast forward a little bit. There we go. We're gonna need to go a lot faster than this. So right, so if we were waiting for this trade, right, and let's say this line up here is for buys, the one down low is for sales, right? Gosh, this is slow. It's gonna take forever. We getting somewhere. This look, this is how slow the market really be. This is when you actually waiting for the market. This is a perfect example. It's moving super slow. You got your entry set up, right? But you got to be patient, right? All right, cool. I actually need to take it back a little bit more. Let's take it back because we missed our entry. So cool. Now, right, let's talk about a breakout. Now, what's a breakout? Oh, now it works. Man, I was trying to get that to work all day yesterday. Price successfully closes above or below structure. I promise you, I know how to spell. And I promise you, I do know how to type. I went to that school, feel me? Back in school, you still had type to learn, right? Now they got ABC mouse. But right, so take it back one candlestick. So cool. This right here would have been our break of structure. But we got the candlestick come up and close above. Let me give you one more candle. There we go. So this is our break of structure. So again, if this was stop loss, right? If this were, we were in for a sale and this was stop loss, at the candle close, depending on the time frame, for my trades, it's 15 minutes. But for this example, we just gonna run with it. At the close, this would have been our confirmation to get out of the trade. Or if we were looking for a buy, this will be our confirmation to enter the trade because we successfully closed above the candle, right? So we would have entered on the next candle right here. We would have entered on that candle to then continue. So the break of the structure, we got the breakout, right? And then let's go ahead and see now what happens. So we got that breakout and we're just seeing it run, make this continuation. Now, the last thing that we have to identify is called a retest. But while this is running, if we understand what a breakout is, right? Go ahead and drop a 5 in the chat. If you understand breakout, drop a 5. If you need to see it one more time, drop a 2. Because we told y'all it was education. Feel me? We told y'all it was education here in Bass. We do live trading, but we also want to make sure that we're educating people. And this vocabulary is super important to make sure that you are being profitable and understanding how to take the signals, right? Breakout and retest. Miss Jones, yes. So right. So again, if the candle does not close, then that's not a breakout. That would be a rejection. So, right, if we were waiting for buys here at this line, right, we came up here, but we did not close above. And as you see, since we did not close above, the market then sank and went down lower. And this would have been us hitting stop loss because we got into the trade prematurely based off of my strategy, right? Not everyone uses price action, right? So price action means that you're waiting on break of structures. So, right, if it does not break, right, and it fails to break, then that is a rejection. And that is telling us that price is not ready to go there, which is why we wait for the breakout to tell us, hey, price is ready to go ahead and move out of this area and continue, right? So that's going to be the main difference. And you do have one other thing I did not mention, right, which is a fake out, right? So we'll see if we can identify a fake out as well. All right. So, Miss Jones, if that makes sense for you, right, I'm gonna be looking for your next comment. Go ahead, drop a 3 in the chat for me if that makes sense for you. Let's see though, guys. Let's see if we get a retest. Yeah, the fake outs. So the fake outs are a little bit harder to identify, right? So, but I'll do my best to try to show you guys what a fake out is. A fake out is somewhat like a rejection, and that's what I was gonna say. So you have two types of fake outs, right? Let me type it on the screen too. You have two types of fake outs, right? You have the personal fake out, which really just means I got in prematurely. If I'm just being honest, right? If you hear somebody, I may even say, like, hey guys, we got faked out. But I already know I didn't wait for the candle close. So I didn't wait for the candle close. So now I feel like it was a fake out, but it was just me really having FOMO, right? So you have a personal fake out, and then you have an actual market fake out. And this usually happens around news. So that's when you'll have a spike in volatility and then move in opposite direction. You see, that's below that, right? Yeah, look, I didn't even see it. I told y'all I could spell. Right. So that's typically going to happen during news. Let me go ahead and just make this a little bit easier to see. I did not spell opposite right, but y'all didn't catch it either. So look, typically happens during news events. So I want you guys to be able to know, like, hey, there are personal fake outs. You faked out yourself, right? Yeah. You were so gung ho on getting in this trade that you didn't wait, and so you faked out yourself, right? That's a personal fake out. Now, a market fake out is just going to be again that can happen usually with news spikes. I want to say we saw that on Friday on NAS, so I'll see if we can go and mark and find that. But yeah, typically it's going to happen during news. You'll get the news that comes out or the opening candle, and then you'll see a lot of volatility to one side, and then right, and it may close on the smaller time frames, but then it doesn't close on a higher time frame, and then the market moves in the opposite direction. So again, I know that can be a little bit confusing or a lot to take in, so I will do my best to identify that for you if we can here today on the sessions. But all right, cool. Let's take a look at a retest, right? So we got the previous break over here. So now that we've broke this structure, right? Anything that was previously resistance, when we break it, now that becomes support. So right, think of it like what's that one game? I cannot remember the name of it. Like Doodle Jump, I want to say, little green alien, and you had to jump, keep jumping up to deep to different levels. So think of it similar to that. Or your house, right? I was like, people always like to give this example. So right, imagine that you're in your house, right? And you're punching your ceiling, right? So if you're punching your ceiling, the more times you punch it, the softer it's going to get. Eventually, you're going to break out. So think of the structures in the same way when we're hitting that ceiling, right? It's just market punching and punching and punching at that structure. So then once we break that structure and we go above, that ceiling is now the floor. So right, so what we're looking for to come here is we're looking for price to come back, and we're retesting this area that was previously resistance, and now looking to see if it's going to show support. If it shows support, then that means that it's going to continue. So this right here would be our retest of structure. If again, I need to press enter. I know they like, bro, he could trade, he can't spell though, but nah. Cool. Right? Retest price moves to the previous area to show opposite of previous. So this would mean a previous structure E, right? The opposite of previous structure. For example, resistance is support or previous support is now resistance, right? So again, looking for this to come down, and it broke down a little bit below, right? Which is okay, right? Because right after it broke down below, we can see it came right back up. And again, we're looking at the 5 minute time frame. So right, the 5 minute time frame is is going to be a little bit different than what it's going to look like on higher time frames. Right. But for this, we're looking for this rejection. So if we look at this three candles, that means that it barely closed on the 15-minute, and then right the next 15-minute candle came right back up. But we're looking for this to come and do one of these. That's what's called a retest. So it has to come back and it has to be the opposite of what the structure previously was. So this was previously resistance. Now this has to be support if this is going to be a retest. If this is not if it breaks down and it continues in the previous direction, then that's not a retest. But so we can see, all right. So this one right here, this one was a retest because it came down and it showed us this right here, right? We didn't. So this is now we're getting into a little bit more of you guys critical thinking. So if this one was a retest, and it was a retest because now previous resistance now acted as support, what will we consider this one to be? Let me know. Drop it in the chat. What will we consider this one? BOS, break of structure. Look, it's the first time I've seen that abbreviation. Any other answers, right? Any other answers? Don't be shy. Is one of the three things that we looked at, right? You have break of structure, you have a rejection, or you have a retest. Like I said, fake outs are really hard to identify. They're more of something that's easier to identify after they've already happened. Okay, Queen E, right? You was the only one to answer. Go ahead, shoot me a DM. I have a special prize for you, right? I love participation. I want you guys to be here, not just, sitting on the call because it's cool, right? But I actually want you guys here asking questions. If you're gonna spend your time, right? I told you that's why I told you guys what we was gonna cover at the beginning of the call, because I didn't want nobody wasting their time looking at basics if that's something that you are already past. Right. Yes, this one would be a breakout. We had a retest. This one right here is a breakout because now this area that was previously support or our floor we've now broken through it. And we can see right here, we just continue to dive deeper because we did not hold that structure. So you would have hit TP1 at least. Right now we're coming back more into consolidation, kind of moving sideways. Now we're getting that again, another right here. Now we have another break of structure, a retest, right? You guys can see, right? It's a pattern to this. Retest, another retest, right? Or rejection. This one right here, right? We go here. We got a breakout, a retest, and then a rejection, right? And this, what's the difference between a breakout, a retest, and a rejection, right? Or let's say, what's the difference between a retest and a rejection? On the retest, I mean, they can be considered similar. But the main thing for a retest is that price came all the way down, right? And bounced off of this. Versus right here, we got a rejection. Price tried to sell off, right? We got a wick. That wick came down here and we closed way above. So that's going to be the difference between a retest and a rejection. So, right, I know that can be somewhat confusing, but right, that's what's going to be the key difference is that price came down and closed and at support. So we tested this level, right? We went ahead and made sure that this level was thorough. So now that the price came down here and closed and then bounced off of it, we know that's a retest. This coming down here, we understand that price rejected this area, which means that price does not want to come down here, right? Price that says, hey, we're not coming down this low. And so this is understanding the difference in breakout, retest, and rejection. That was actually the perfect setup for you guys to see. So, right, we got that retest, we got a rejection, and now price is just running above our structure here. And now, right, we could have came up here and we could have made a new structure, right? We could have made a new box up here because we're identifying areas of consolidation, right? And now this could be our new zone that we're really looking for price to come out of. And we can do, again, the same things that we identified from before, right? We got a breakout. We got the breakout. We got a retest right afterwards. Retest, price came down, closed in that area, and bounced right off of it, right? So all this right here, I consider all of this a retest, right? We have to find that support. And remember that everything is always an area. It's not a set price, right? And ran all the way up. So look, right? We have no indicators. We haven't did anything super fancy. All we did, right? All we did was identify breakouts, retest. Super simple. Now, if I had threw a trend line on here as well, all right, let's throw that trend line on there. So now I'm on this trend line. This is also going to help me because, right, what price came down here, bounced. We got the breakout. We know we got this trend line right here. We got the retest, right? Again, staying on this trend line. Then even coming up here to the next box, right? We got the break of the trend line, right, which tells us, hey, there's no longer in a uptrend, right? We're consolidating. So now that we know that we're consolidating, we make our structure and we're looking for the next breakout of this structure. Is it going to break high or is it going to break low? It broke high, and then we were able to take this trade, right? And then I could come up here again, trend line it up, right? Boom, and ride the wave. So super simple, right? This is super simple. I just showed you guys a couple of trades that you could have took and made a bag on using just basic strategy, right? Super basic. We didn't do anything crazy, right? Nothing. We didn't use no indicators. We didn't use no technical analysis. This is strictly just price action. So look, if you feel a little bit more confident, if this makes a little bit more sense to you, if you're like, hey, you know what? Price action may be a strategy that I can start incorporating to get to a bag, right? I just want to see, drop a 7 in the chat if you understand price action a little bit better and that you feel a little bit more confident moving forward seeing the market, because this is what made the most sense to me, right? There's a thousand ways for you to look at the market. There's a thousand ways for you to make money, but this is the one that made the most sense to me because I'm not good at shapes, right? I can't draw a bunch of stars or anything like that. For sure, right? I'm gonna drop it on the YouTube. Let me go ahead and drop it on YouTube. If you got on here late, don't worry, don't worry, right? This will be uploaded to YouTube directly after this. I just dropped my YouTube link in the chat. Like I said, all my educational calls will be going straight to there, so you guys will always be able to access them afterwards. I understand a lot of people are at work right now. Shout out to my Africa crew, right? They're still at work right now, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, right? 9:30 a.m. Here in the States. So, and I'm gonna do educational calls every Monday because I only trade Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. So Sunday, Mondays will be my more educational calls for you guys, family. Sunday night, and then Monday mornings. Let me see here. All right, so cool. Right. So now we've looked at breakouts, we looked at rejections, we've looked at retest, and we understand a little bit better as far as in regards to price action. So look, family, again, it was going to be a quick educational call. If anyone has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chats. Right. I'll rock out for a couple more minutes. But if you guys don't have any questions, you guys are free to go. Right. I just wanted to make sure. So next Monday, right, we'll be doing part 2, which will be more intermediate. We'll be looking at risk to rewards, EMAs, RSIs, risk management. So right, starting to really put this together. So I know price, I know a price action 7, feel me? I know rejections now. So I understand that, hey, if price comes and wicks the stop loss, I know that I should stay in the trade. I need to hold the trade. So what does that really mean, right? In regards to your stop losses, either for my trade specifically, you want to give yourself a little bit more breathing room on your stop loss. So if my stop loss is 500 pips, like, you may want to do 550, right? If you're a person who can't sit there and manually trade, that way you're just not taking out, but you're also not risking more than what you're really comfortable with, right? But if you're someone who's manually trading, right, and you're in front of the computer, then right, we're waiting or we're watching the market, and we don't have to sit here in front of the computer. Like I set alerts, right? I set alerts for you can set an alert for a what's the word I'm looking here for a close of structure. Let me show you, right? If you come to trading view, I'm in replay mode, okay? So let me go back to current, zoom out here, right? So if I want to come here and I want to make, and this, you guys see me do this on my session, right? So let's say this is my stop loss, and I say, hey, I want to know if price comes down here and it closes, right, once per bar closed. So now I can set that. So right, that's how I set my stop losses. So I'll get an alert that says, hey, and I set it for the time frame, right, uh on my trades. It tells you guys we're looking for a stop loss close on the 15-minute chart. But even if I say, hey, I don't want, it could be a big candle, and that can happen for sure, guys. I want to let you guys know, right? I've seen it where it'd be like, even this one right here, right? This is a lot of pips for some people. So, right, so this may be something that you're not comfortable with. So I may want to set this to a lower time frame just so then I can be alert. So, right, so 7 sets to set to close the trade if we get a close of structure on the 15-minute. So I'm gonna set an alert on the 5 minute. So then that way I can always be prepared to close, right? I'm gonna get a little bit of heads up because sometimes trading view alerts be late. I've noticed that, right? It'd be into the 3 minutes into the next candle, and I get an alert about the old candle, right? So I'm set your alerts for a smaller time frame than what you're expecting, but then when you come to the 15-minute chart, it's going to give you that timer to let you know how much time you have left in this candle before it closes, so you can know, hey, do I want to close this, or do I want to go ahead and hold and wait to see what happens, because we can have a rejection and then the trade still remains valid. So again, family, I appreciate everyone for hopping on the call today. Next week, we'll be going over intermediate training. And again, looking at adding indicators, looking at risk management, and really starting to put all of this together. So again, family, appreciate everyone for hopping on the call. Hope you guys have a blessed rest of your day. Peace.